Half a Day KUAM, I'm Adriana Cotero, and today I am joined with the Science is Fun and Awesome Learning Academy Charter School Principal Arvi Bacani, and we also have the Assistant Principal Shireen Matanonia. We have also educators with SIFA, which is Angela Malone and Jane de Guzman. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me, and sorry if I messed up anyone's names in the introduction. But hello and welcome.
Hello.
Hi. Hi. So we will be discussing, how you guys plan to move forward with the remaining of the school year. I had previously spoken with Principal Bacani, and just as a rough introduction and just to recap it all, you plan to move forward with the school year with utilizing the third quarter grades to roll over and become the fourth quarter grades for students. This recommendation was made by yourself, Principal Bacani, to the Board of Trustees during your latest meeting, and you were further going to determine grading for the fourth quarter by the end. But additionally, with that meeting, it was decided that virtual lessons will be provided to all the students, and that's about 235 students, but there's about 7% of the school's population that does not have online internet access, in which there'll be a modified virtual lesson to be created for those students. So the projected calendared school year end date is May 29th. And these virtual lessons will be graded, and they'll add a percentage to the fourth quarter grade. So I know that you guys, all the administration and the faculty just met to further decide final grading and also modifying the coursework. So I would like to start, possibly I could ask Principal Bacani how this idea of transferring over to virtual lessons, keeping it graded, and the decision to continue on with the school year. We've seen other schools here on Guam decide to close early, but there was something else that you had mentioned to me, which I also want to highlight, that it was almost you wanted to bring normalcy to students throughout all this chaos. So maybe you can tell us how you came to this decision and brought it forward to the Board of Trustees.
Yes, what it is was basically, it was already within the faculty and the administration that we did not want to end the school year. Even with the closure of the school, it didn't mean we did not have to end our lessons. So in essence, basically, we just wanted to continue, and like you reiterated, we wanted to give a sense of normalcy to everyone. The lessons that were created are still based on our curriculum. It's just a matter of delivery that has changed. Right now, we do understand that a lot of our students, or every student, is faced with this issue with the COVID-19 out there. So this is just their outlet to provide some normalcy in their lives. Besides doing what they need to do at home to survive, with their parents, we wanted to ensure that at least they have some kind of lessons going on. And majority of the lessons the teachers will explain are also hands-on. They tackle the issues that are happening right now. But one thing we didn't want to do was, we did not want to end the school year and just say, that's it, have a 4, 5, 6 month vacation. We just wanted to ensure that learning did continue, and that was our promise to the students and our parents.
And with that, maybe we can go over how you guys designed your program. What is the virtual lessons and the distance learning?
Well, I could have the teachers talk about that. Ms. Malone, Ms. de Guzman, even Ms. Mantanonia had her hands in that.
Okay, so you want to go?
You want to go?
Go ahead, and I'll just end it with whatever we have. Go ahead.
Well, just to give a little information about what the virtual lessons are, since spring break, the students have a project that has 2 components. And the first component is a quarantine journal, because we know that this is going to be talked about for many, many years. And though trying to help them create their own primary resource can be really powerful. So they're submitting a quarantine journal about their feelings, about how they're doing, what they're doing, how their life has changed. Some are also including statistics about the virus here on Guam compared to the rest of the world. So every week they make at least 2 entries and update it. And we're going to share those at the end, and the students will have an opportunity to make a reflection. The second component is what we call the project of choice, and we gave them 3 options. One option is called home investigations, and basically they're going to do a science experiment in their house about, they're going to go through the scientific method, but they're welcome to do anything. Some are doing arts related projects, which is great. So we're a STEAM school. Some are doing projects about what's going on in their house as far as what they're eating, how much money they're spending, things like that. The second is bloom where you're planted, and they're building, they're creating a garden. So they have to design the garden, and then they're recording the data for its growth. They're going to analyze the data and share their results. And the third is called look for the helper. And in that, they're designing a prototype for a device that is helpful around their house in this time of quarantine. So they design the device, build the prototype, then test the prototype. If it needs revisions, then they make those retests. Again, they're gonna analyze the data, record the data, and share it. And our vision for this was, like Mr. Bacani said, we wanted to ensure that learning continued, but we didn't want it to just be busy work. We want it to be meaningful learning. And as we all know, in the world, subjects are not segmented out into math, science, English. They're all separate. They're all blended together. And so this is kind of a unique opportunity to help students acquire some of those problem-solving skills and to understand how connected all of their learning is.
It's really interesting that you say that, because even as we're going through this pandemic, right? Because I'm someone that I was never really big on, you know, mathematics or science, but I'm learning a lot about health through this whole entire thing. And when we're talking about the economy recovering, I'm learning numbers too. So
Right.
you know, I'm able to enter into some of those areas that I typically did not excel as much on. So it's a learning process along the way. So I love that you guys are implementing that into your coursework and have kind of I guess made that part of it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then just to add to that, because we are using all these different skills in these bigger projects, we do still give mini lessons also. So a lot of us actually do record lessons on YouTube, and we share it with our students on Edmodo. And, you know, we also still have our office hours. We're still available to our students. So they reach us through email or Edmodo. Some of us have them on WhatsApp, you know, just different ways to get in touch with us. Because, you know, just because all our stuff is virtual now doesn't mean we don't talk to them. We still talk to them, and they can still reach out to us also if they need help with anything.
So for those, just because you're mentioning putting them on YouTube and the different programs, what are you guys doing in order to help those that do not have the internet access?
So that's me. When it comes to kids who don't have internet, and it goes back to the beginning. So we officially started on March 16th with all of our virtual lessons. But prior to that, we surveyed all of our kids. So we have 244 students enrolled. Out of the 244, we identified 224 of those students who have internet services at home, and 9 students who have mobile data only, and then 9 students who have no devices, no internet connection, no mobile data at all. So we came up with 3 different ways that we can reach out to those students. And the first one is if they have a parent who maybe goes to work, they can email their assignments or have their child respond through email. The second one is if their parents do have WhatsApp, like for those who have mobile data only, they can take pictures of their handwritten assignments or create videos of their PowerPoints. You know, they may not have internet connections to send it, but they can make videos and send it through WhatsApp. And then we are also offering a Dropbox. So there's going to be a drop-off service, and we're going to open that on May 11th through the 22nd. So that's the different outlets that we have. So if they want to go ahead and do their work and handwrite it, we're fine with that. We do have advisors calling those 18 students on a weekly basis. They would let them know what the assignments are, let them know how they can modify the work. Let's say they're doing a PowerPoint, but they don't have any resources at all. Well, we'll accept different pieces of paper you put into a book, and you can drop that off at our Dropbox, and we will still accept it in. We have gotten in contact with the ones who do not have internet service via phone. I think there's only a few, probably 3 or 4 students who we cannot get in contact with. But other than that, everyone has been contacted. They do know that, you know, the virtual lessons will improve their 4th quarter grade, and if all of the options that are available to them. As far as virtual lessons go, most of these apps have been already used in our classroom. So the transition, it wasn't as rough as, you know, it wasn't as rough as it could have been. We use Edmodo in our classroom. We use Classcraft. There's a handful of apps that teachers already use because we provide an iPad to each student. So these apps are already loaded. So it's not difficult or out of the ordinary, something that they would have to learn. They've already learned it already. So it's just going through the distance learning. And I know with Miss Jane, she was talking about learning in a different aspect. I mean, we all hear the term distance learning, but you don't hear the term distance teaching. And those are 2 different things. You can learn on your own. You can provide websites and parents can go to it and you can click on it and you can have your child engage. But they're doing that alone. Here, we have teachers who lecture, teachers who have direct links where you can ask a question if you're confused. So they'll provide the assignment, they'll provide the distance learning material, but they'll also provide the services as though they were right there in the classroom. So with the click of a finger, they can ask.
I like that you brought that up as well, the distance teaching, because I know that there has been even a few other schools and private schools here on the island that are doing distance learning as well, but a lot of the parents are saying that they're kind of having to take responsibility to teach throughout this. And I mean, I don't know, there's obviously different factors with it, but so you guys are still sticking to like a teaching schedule then? You're still going on one-on-one with the students?
Yes.
And teachers post their teaching hours, like they know that, okay, so with Mrs. De Guzman, she's online from 10 to 6. So within 10 to 6, they can go on their Edmodo, they can ask a question, look at the assignment, and then contact her, you know, personal message her and say, hey, I don't understand this. Can you help me? And she'll be right there to help. And then her and some other teachers also have lectures that they video, and then they put those on YouTube. So if you have mobile data and you have YouTube, click on YouTube and you can see your teachers explain the assignments and how to do it.
Have you guys received any feedback that students were kind of having difficulty with the distance learning, maybe just because they're not there in the classroom and they're not used to being at home? There's other distractions and, you know, everything with the coronavirus. Any fears as well?
Well, with that, yes, there have been some students that have actually parents that have expressed it, but I've encouraged our teachers. This is a unique situation with the coronavirus out there. Be empathetic towards the students. So when they do reach out, I do inform the teachers that this child or this family is facing an issue. We do take that into account. Again, first and foremost, yes, we provide the education, but they need to take care of themselves. The families themselves are their party. We're just the auxiliary for them, just again, like I said, to provide some normalcy in their lives. Instead of them just sitting down doing nothing, you know, they have something to do. They have an outlet to reach out. And with that, not only are the lessons focused on academics, on the 3rd week that we had closed down, we asked our counselor to send out lessons, and her lessons were fantastic. The feedback that was given by parents was really very positive. Her lessons were encouraging self-care, positive coping, developing empathy, managing emotions, and even career exploration. So I have quite a few parents that reached out and said, you know, that was fantastic, because now I could see my child say, they understand what's going on out there in the world, that it's not about them, it's about all of us. And that there are people, really, that was the time where frontliners were really getting into the news. You had students that were reaching out, you know, making things, donating, just saying a simple thank you to our frontliners. So not all academics. We have to also take care of their mental state, the behavioral part.
Of course. Yeah, I remember you, Principal Bacani, mentioning to me that a lot of your students, their parents are frontline workers or first responders. So you guys wanted to make sure that you did incorporate coping lessons made by your counselor for those students.
Yes, you know, even the parents would even express it to me. A couple of parents have called me up saying, man, I'm going through this and that. So I said, okay, let me see what we can do as a school to reach out to everyone. And that's the results.
I'm sure some of the parents even found it beneficial, some of the adults.
Yes, yes, we had adults that said the lessons were really fantastic. I mean, they've said things like, my gosh, it's challenging, even I'm being challenged by it, by all the lessons. And that's fantastic to hear.
And that something else I wanted to go back to, just because personally for me, I always find, and it could be because I'm, you know, a journalist and a storyteller, but I've always been someone that writes reflections. So especially during times of crisis or any historical moment or happening within my life, it is a coping mechanism for me to journal and to write and reflect. And you guys have made that a project, the quarantine journals. And that's something I haven't heard of any other schools doing yet. So I just kind of want to highlight on that. Is that a school-wide project? Is that something that's something all the students are doing? And then how have students, I mean, I don't know if you guys are reading the journals along the way or if students are discussing them with you, but are they saying that this is helping? Because maybe even if students aren't assigned that right now, anyone listening could probably maybe benefit from this as well, journaling.
We have been reading them as we go along, and some of them are frustrating because you just want to give them a hug because they're really struggling. They are, you know, middle school kids are all about their peer relationships. And so to have that in one fell swoop taken out of their equation is really hard. But at least in the ones I've been reading for my home base, a lot of them have commented on how much they've enjoyed their family time. Because a lot of them don't get to see their parents or one parent or another very often, and some of them are getting to see them a lot more. And then, of course, as Mr. Bacani said, we have a lot of kids that have frontliner parents who aren't getting to see those parents at all, almost. So it's a very big range. And I Zoomed with my home base last week, and to hear them speak about it, they have enjoyed the journaling because it allows them an opportunity to really release all of that and somewhere to put it. So it's been great.
Yeah, I was a child, it's been therapeutic for me, the outlet.
Yeah, and for some of them, it was definitely a struggle to get used to it in the beginning, which you can see when they write their journals. But as the weeks have been going by, you see they start expressing more, they start getting more creative with it. So I think it's really good for them because, you know, at this age, this is also the age where you don't necessarily want to talk about your feelings. So you kind of try to find ways to go about it. So for me, because I teach language arts, you know, I also have them do poetry. So a lot of them at first were like, oh, I don't like poetry, I don't want to talk about my feelings. But they're finding ways to express themselves now. And, you know, the nice thing about poetry is that it doesn't have to be straightforward. You can be a little bit obscure, which they're finding out now. And, you know, they're taking advantage of it. And it's also nice to see that there are some students who at the beginning were like, oh, I'm just at home all the time. And like Mrs. Malone mentioned, you know, they're like, I miss my friends. I I do nothing. But now they're also doing some self-exploration, because now some of them are trying new hobbies. They're learning new skills. A lot of them are into gardening now, which is nice. It's useful. So, you know, it's like, it's a good time also. Like, yes, it's hard, but you know, when you find the silver linings, the journal, I think, is helping them channel and find the silver linings in the situation.
Yeah, we should make it an island-wide project starting now.
Another thing, Adriana, is that later on, this is something that we're going through. It's kind of like the World War, right? I mean, you hear everybody who's been there and done that. They tell their stories. This is a chance for our students to tell their story. So later on, when they go, you know, through life and they have children of their own, and they go, oh, did you know that in 2020 we went through a COVID-19 pandemic and this many people had passed away? They can say, yes, and here's my journal. I have lived through it. This is everything that I went through being, you know, self-quarantined at home. And they can go through that, and it's part of them. It's part of their history living through this pandemic.
Yes, definitely. I couldn't agree more. And it's very interesting because whenever I was in, here I am going off a little bit, sorry, but when I was in 3rd grade, I still remember my teacher, Mrs. Welsbacher, shout out to her in Michigan, but one of our language arts projects was to journal, and a lot of kids did not like it, but we would spend 1 hour a day journaling. And they were like, I don't know what to write about. I don't know what to write about. And she'd say, well, write about what you ate this morning. Write about what you want to do this week, and just like anything at all. And really since then, like, it probably has developed me into who I am today. One of those things. And it is part of me journaling, but documenting it all. I mean, we've seen even throughout our coursework. I mean, think about like Diary of Anne Frank, right? And other instances like that. I think that there was something that just came up on Zoom, so I just want to make sure. But anyways, that is great. I love that you guys are doing that project. Is there anything else you want to highlight on that school-wide project? Okay, so then, well, sorry. There was just one other thing I wanted to touch on too, because I know that we are exceeding some time here, but there was a video that the students had made with SIFA, and there was the slogan that they said, we are one school, one goal. Is that something that you guys have said throughout since ever since, or is it something recent with the COVID crisis, with the pandemic?
It happened with the COVID crisis that was going on. A lot of our students needed to be uplifted. So together with the counselor, I created a slogan, and then I asked them, I wanted to see what they were going to come up with the slogan, and a lot of them said, you know, we're in this together. You know, it opened up a lot of how do you say it, positivity on trying to get through the pandemic and the home quarantine and all of the things that they were going through. And we see it through their journals. So I said, you know what, let's put it out there, and we'll make a video project on being one school and having one goal. And that one goal is to be all in it together and to defeat COVID-19.
I know that the school year is calendared to end on May 29th, but do you guys do summer school, or do you plan on maybe offering anything for enrichment, just because we may be going through COVID for some time and throughout the summer, maybe even likely until the fall? So maybe this is a way for students to, again, have some normalcy in their lives.
Again, because we're a fairly new school, we haven't looked at the summer schools, the possibility of summer school. However, we are going to be looking at enhancing our distance learning, because right now we don't know we don't know when normalcy will come back. We don't know if we're going to be able to start in August. So, you know, there are plans that are being developed right now to address that issue. So right now, we just want that everyone just pretty much just stay safe and be positive.
Of course. Well, you have my phone number, so you can keep me updated, and we can continue to update the community on any developments that may go into the summer as well. I'll be checking in before the new school year, of course, just to see where everyone's at. But again, I just want to thank you guys real fast. Is there, for any parents students that may have any questions, how can they contact you as you guys are working on completing the school year?
Of course, they can go on our website, which is sifalats.sifapacific.org. All the information, contact information is there. It's also open enrollment. So if you're interested in joining our school and becoming a manta ray, come on aboard.
Oh, okay. So open enrollment right now.
Yes.
They'll continue. Okay, wow. All right, well, thank you again. And thank you all for watching again. That was Science is Fun and Awesome Learning Academy Charter School Principal, Arvi Bacani. We also had the Assistant Principal, Shireen Matanonia, and we also had educators, Angela Malone and Jane D. Guzman. So thank you all for watching, and I look forward to seeing what else comes out of SIFA for the new school year. And enrollment is open.